Well, hello there, friends and kin, and happy Sunday to you. Welcome to Sundee Service. Today's going to be a little bit different because, in lieu of a reading, I've really just felt the urge to talk about something that's just kind of weighed on me for a bit. And by all means, leave your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts and impressions on this topic. And when I first made this channel and started thinking about what I was going to do with it, it was sort of in response to the type of online content I typically find aimed at folk like us. Uh, nature based spiritual people, nature oriented spiritual people, animists, witches, pagans, plethora of other titles that kind of fall under that umbrella. But there was just something I was trying to avoid. And because again, this attitude and this behavior is present in so much of the content out there, and that's it's a, I say a specific kind, but there's sort of multiple pieces to this puzzle that make up what I'm getting at. It's a mix between being on a moral high horse and also portraying a "you're only a witch if" type of talk. So I guess what we're talking about is various different elements of elitism. Some may even use the term gatekeeping. That's applicable, but I really feel like that term is misused in a lot of the conversation that takes place in our communities. And I don't want to derail too much into that conversation because that really is a separate conversation. But the reason I say the term is misused is because there's a time and the place to maintain a boundary and stand guard at the gate. There is a time and a place for it, I believe. And I believe that any group of people who creates and maintains a tradition has the right to dictate the terms of who participates. And that's not something I have an innate problem with. Now, as long as those terms are not based on any sort of bigoted criteria, I think that it's healthy to say, we require a certain level of training or a certain level of initiation to be involved in what we do, and perhaps even a certain ethical stance on things. I think that's okay to a point. But when it's just simply things like economics, you don't want blue collar or poor people in your group. That I think is I think that's a problem. Or solely based upon race, I think that's a problem. But but setting a requirement of basically just being on the same page with the rest of the people in the tradition, I don't really think that's necessarily a problem. Uh, but I'm talking about the sort of holier than thou attitude. And I know that anybody watching this has seen it too. Well, you're only a real witch if you do A, B, and C. And if you do it any other way, you're not a real witch. It has nothing to do with initiation. It has nothing to do with doing any sort of work to attain a certain goal. It just has to do with being a sycophant to the person talking. And and I don't particularly care for that. Um, and then there's the other form of elitism is a little bit more academic based, where folks think because they've studied a certain school of thought or a certain grouping of academics that somehow makes them uh, intellectually superior than other people in the same vein. These are the reason I bring this up today is because these are things I really want to avoid on my channel. I never want to come across that way. I am never going to dictate to you the terms of the craft. What constitutes a real witch or a fake one? What things make a path valid or not? Because these things are ultimately between the practitioner and their relationship with spirit, their relationship with the other world. And I don't have the right to dictate the terms of that relationship for anybody other than me. And I never want that attitude to be prevalent on this channel or in any community I have a role in building or maintaining. But I remember seeing this content so much over the years. And I really wanted to find like-minded people who were open to exploring various different methods of approach to the craft and openly learning from each other rather than dictating to each other what you have to do to be a real witch in the eyes of the cool kids in the club. And so by all means, if I ever adopt an attitude like that, I am giving you full consent to call me out on it right here, right now. And at any time in the future, that is full consent to tell me, hey, James, remember what you said back in late May of 2026? Yeah, I'm calling you out on it, dipshit. And I will, I will very humbly apologize. But I don't really think that attitude does much to help anything. When you hold yourself in such a high regard and put yourself on a pedestal, and tell people that they're not going to get your respect until they meet these conditions, it just comes across extremely narcissistic to me, and it certainly doesn't win my respect, and it certainly does not impress me. And so, again, I want to make it the point of this channel to eliminate that brand of thinking, at least amongst us, those of us who are talking here. And for those of you that, in response to this channel, have started striking up conversations with me and interacting with me, thank you so much, because this is exactly what I was looking for. When I started this channel, I wanted to be the kind of voice that I was looking for so many years. And I wanted to use the channel to help build the type of support network that I always wanted to be a part of. And there's a lot of old pearls of wisdom that talk about if you build it, they will come. You know, that's one of the most popular things in pop culture that came to us thanks to Field of Dreams. But I think that's a very old notion. If you can't find what you're looking for, build it. Be the change you want to see in the world, that sort of thing. And that's what pushes me to do this. That's what motivates me to keep speaking my truth, to keep trying to connect with people, and keep trying to build some type of support network for people who just want to grow and learn. And I'm not, I'm not a teacher. I certainly do not have all the answers, but I'm also not afraid to ask questions. And if we have questions that nobody has answers to, I'm more than happy to walk hand in hand with you looking for them. And even if we don't find the ultimate answers, maybe hopefully we'll find answers that just get us through to the next day. And I'll still call that a win. So today I did a couple things different with my personal Sundee service. As most of you know who've been interacting with me for a bit, there's usually a ritual that I do before I start filming this portion that's private. And oops, sorry, almost dropped my phone. So I don't usually video that part of it. I did once just to show people what I did, but today was a little different, and I'm going to share with you guys what I'm doing. This year I really wanted to put extra effort into my personal growth within the craft, and it's something that started last year. Pardon me. I was trying out a new one today, the JFR 20 years. Very fine smoke. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. But today, like I said, I decided to do something a little different. Last year, I was really looking for a line of witchery to be initiated into. An opportunity to do so crossed my path, and I said, this is something I've always wanted to do. So I started working with an individual and looking over their material and the tradition of craft they taught, and it looked like a really good fit. Unfortunately, that has no longer become an option, as that individual has chosen to explore a slightly different expression of the craft. Although we still keep in touch and we talk about craft-related things, a good friendship was born out of that we both still highly value. But so this year I told myself, well, if this initiatic experience is something that I want, I may just have to take matters into my own hands. And that's what a lot of us end up having to do, I think. And I know there's a lot of debates on the validity of self-initiation. I'm not interested in going into that here. I've heard a lot of arguments go multiple directions on that, and my personal stance on it is that initiation does not really have a lot of limitations upon it. It's not something that has to be done by another group of people. And there are plenty of lines of magical practice that have started utilizing methods of self-initiation just to see to it that their tradition grows and survives. And so I think personally that brand of initiation is perfectly valid. Now, it may not be to get you entry into certain organized groups that don't recognize it, but that's on them. If we're in this for our own spiritual growth and development, the validation from other people carries little weight. So this year, a few months ago, I used a chant from one of Roger Horn's books that he offered as a variant on self-initiation, which is just the recitation of the Lord's Prayer backwards, followed by kneeling and putting one hand under your foot and one hand over your head and offering everything between your hands to the Master of Spirits. And I said, okay, this was a pretty potent thing, and I'm going to further this. So on Walpurgisnacht of this year, I repeated that ritual in the spot I'm now standing, and beneath the branches of this beautiful old oak tree, and in this particular cemetery. And today I did it again with the addition of a breaching charm as taught by Robin Artisan in the book Ankara Gwyn. And as you can see there, that was my setup for it. And my Instagram is going to have a few more pictures that I took of how I set things up and what I did. And I do feel very connected now. And the two times I've done this before, the end result was the same type of feeling, a feeling of connection and empowerment. And so I'm going to keep doing it. And as far as what I'm looking for, the experience of knowing when it's done, I have a feeling I will know when it happens. So we're just going to keep rolling with it until I feel in my soul the job is done. So, what are some of your thoughts on self initiation? And if it's something you've done, if you're comfortable sharing the details, please elaborate. I'm all ears. Feel free to do so in the comments, or if you're connected with me personally and don't want to talk about it publicly, talk to me about it one on one. You're more than welcome to. And I mean, I feel really dirty saying this next part because I don't. I always feel guilty for selling myself. I feel like a dirty sellout, but everybody's told me I need to do this, so I'm going to do it. And that's just please, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Uh, Likes and comments really help this content show up in other people's feeds and help connect more of us that are on the same page. So if we want to add more friends and kin to the family, uh, please do subscribe, share, like, and let's grow the fellowship. Have a wonderful day, friends and kin, and I'll see you next Sunday.